This video is the second video of this series that I will go over the most repeated questions for the C# interview as a junior to intermediate C# developer. Like always, make sure to read the questions and answers carefully. You don't need to memorize them word by word, but you need to have a general idea about them. And make sure to follow the 3 steps that I mentioned in the first part of the previous video. If you are new to this channel, I am Sam, and in this channel we will go over interview questions and other programming aspects, so don't forget to hit the subscribe button and hit the notification bell to receive notifications when we release more videos like this. So first question, what is the constructor chaining in C#? In short, calling a constructor from another constructor in the same class or base class, it's constructor chaining. The main benefit of constructor chaining is to reduce code duplication. What is the difference between the Array.CopyTo and Array.Clone? Both CopyTo and Clone make shallow copies of the original, and Array.Clone returns a new array, but CopyTo needs a destination array. What is managed or unmanaged code? Managed code is the code that executes under the control of the runtime, and unmanaged code is the code that runs outside the runtime, like .com components, ActiveX interfaces, and Windows API functions are examples of unmanaged codes. What is boxing and unboxing in C#? Boxing is the process of converting a value type to the type object or any interface type implemented by this value type. Boxing is implicit. Unboxing extracts the value type from the object. Unboxing is explicit. What is the difference between a struct and a class in C#? A struct is a value type and do not require heap allocation. Variables of a struct type directly contains the data of the struct and can't inherit from another class or a struct. But when it comes to class, they are reference types. Variable of a class type contains a ref to the data, and at the end they can inherit from another classes. If you want to support my work and get exclusive benefits, you can go over patreon.com/learnwithsam or find a link to my Patreon down in the description. You can have access to the PDF version of these interview questions in my Patreon. What is the difference between ref and out keywords? Variables passed as out arguments do not have to be initialized before being passed in a method call. However, the called method is required to assign a value before the method returns. But ref requires that the variable be initialized before it passes. What are the extension methods in C#? Extension methods enable you to add methods to existing types without creating a new derived type, recompiling, or otherwise modifying the original type. Extension methods are static methods, but they are called as if they were instance methods on the extended type. What are sealed classes in C#? When applied to a class, the sealed modifier prevents other classes from inheriting from it. What are partial classes? Using partial keyword, it is possible to split the definition of a class, a struct, an interface, or a method over 2 or more source files. Each source file contains a section of the type or method definition, and all parts combine when the application is compiled. What are the differences between IEnumerable and IQueryable? IEnumerables are in-memory queries. They come from system.collection namespace and they doesn't support custom query. IQueryables are out-memory queries. They come from system and they don't support custom queries. What are singleton design patterns? Singleton design pattern allow just a single instance of a class created which can be used across actions in all applications and usually give simple access to the instance. What is the difference between the is and as operator in C#? The is operator checks if the runtime type of an expression result is compatible with a given type. The is operator also tests an expression result against a pattern. On the other hand, the as operator explicitly converts the result of an expression to a given reference or nullable value type. If the conversion isn't possible, the as operator returns null. Unlike a cast expression, the as operator never throws an exception. Can we have only a try block without a catch block in C#? Yes, it is possible by using a final block, and it's mainly used for cleanup. Describe dependency injection. Dependency injection is a design pattern in which an object or function receives other objects or functions that it depends on. And it is a technique for achieving inversion of control between classes and their dependencies. What are solid principles? Single responsibility. There should never be more than one reason for a class to change. In other words, every class should have only one responsibility. Open-closed. Software entities should be open for extension but closed for modification. Liskov substitution. Functions that use pointers or references to base classes must be able to use objects derived classes without knowing it. Interface segregation. Clients should not be forced to depend upon interfaces that they do not use. Dependency inversion depends upon abstraction, not concretion. What is tuple? It is a lightweight data structure to group multiple data elements. What is reflection in C#? Reflection provides objects that describe assemblies, modules, and types. You can use reflection to dynamically create an instance of a type, bind the type to an existing object, or get the type from an existing object, and invoke its methods or access its fields and properties. What is a jagged array in C#? A jagged array is an array whose elements are arrays, possibly of different sizes. A jagged array is sometimes called an array of arrays. Compare virtual methods and abstract methods. Virtual method declaration allowed in abstract and non-abstract classes, and virtual methods should have body. On the other hand, abstract methods declaration are only permitted in abstract classes, and there is no method body. When do you implement IDisposable? IDisposable provides a mechanism for releasing unmanaged resources. The most common type of unmanaged resources are objects that wrap operating system resources, such as files, windows, network connection, or database connections. Explain polymorphism. As the name suggests, polymorphism occurs when we have many classes that are related via inheritance. Polymorphism is a Greek word that means many shapes. Base class may define and implement virtual methods, and derived classes can override them, and they provide their own definition and implementation. Why use a lock statement in C#? The lock statement obtains the mutual exclusion lock for an object, execute a statement block, and then releasing the lock. While a lock is held, the thread that holds the lock can again acquire and release the lock. Other threads are blocked from accessing the lock and wait until the lock is released. What is the yield keyword used for in C#? We can use it like yield return to provide the next value in iteration, and like yield break to explicitly signal the end of iteration. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.